What is going on, everybody? So, today is a very good day for Ninja Gaiden fans because Team Ninja has released update 1.07, and this introduces a lot of different fixes that people have been asking for years since Sigma 2 has come out. And if there's anything that this amazing update makes me think about, it's the fact that Team Ninja and Ninja Gaiden 2 Black prove that live service doesn't need to be a bad thing. It could just be live feedback and live responses or fixes. And seeing all of those YouTube videos that were showing different aspects of what they wanted Ninja Gaiden 2 Black to be opposed to what it was, pretty much a lot of people believe that Ninja Gaiden 2 Black is just Sigma 2 with tweaked controls. Well, there's a lot of different tweaks in this game that make it almost an entirely different feeling game. But I can understand why a lot of people think that it is Sigma 2 just remastered or remade, because a lot of the difficulty spikes are very similar to the original, but this update significantly increases the durability and difficulty of certain enemies. It lowers their HP, but increases the AI difficulty and variety of strategies, because the last time I played this game after the update, it was some of the most difficult Ninja Gaiden combat I have ever dealt with since the original Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360. And there is one thing I personally did not like about Sigma 2. If I were to take anything away from that game in some kind of negative light, it would be the fact that Chapter 13 did not feature as many ninjas as the original Ninja Gaiden 2. Instead of having 100 or 150 ninjas at the very least, Sigma 2 had like 25 to 40 that you fight in that one area. Now, the point of this one long stairwell is to emulate the old kung fu movies like the Five Deadly Venoms and other martial arts films similar to that, how the main character needs to go through different levels, similar to Enter the Dragon, where they need to climb levels through enemies, literally. And in Ninja Gaiden 2 for the Xbox 360, you literally have to go through dozens and dozens and dozens of enemies just to get to the top and your ultimate goal. It's like they just threw all of the rest of their ninjas at you to stop you at any cost, and it really feels that way in the original. And I've got to say that Chapter 13 not only mimics the original, but in certain ways, it's actually more demanding than the original stairway scene in the middle of Chapter 13. But the idea of the stairway in Chapter 13 was something of an unavoidable threat. No matter what, you do have to fight the last boss, and you do have to be ready for it. And there are options to just skip all of the enemies and go straight to the stairway in Chapter 13. But the point is that the director wanted your odds by the end of the game to be so impossible that you have no other choice but to look for a way out. And in the original Chapter 13, which wasn't Chapter 13 because you didn't have Ayane Momiji or Rachel in the game, but instead it was Chapter 10 minus those 3 chapters, by the time you get to that section of the game, you're already hysterical. And you couldn't believe that you've dodged so many threats. By the time you get to that stairway, you're pretty much hopeless and think that all of the enemies are chasing you down. But then the doors close, and you're stuck with about 100 Black Spider Clan ninjas that are ready to behead you and do whatever they want. But in the original, I'm fairly certain that there were only basic Black Spider Clan ninjas in that stairway and no other different types of levels of Black Spider Clan ninjas. But in Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, they're actually, at the end of it, a crap ton of those ninjas with the Wolverine blades. And those guys are the absolute worst in Sigma 2. But in 2 Black, they're actually very fun to fight. They have way better timing that's less punishing to somebody who's just trying to do a casual combo like they would similar to Ninja Gaiden 2 on the Xbox 360. But Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2 kind of punishes you for that. But in this game, those Wolverine-like enemies are so much better. So to see a threat so well balanced and polished, having like 20 of them looking you down, is incredibly intimidating. And I'm not gonna lie, I was sweating by the end of it, because fighting 20 of those guys is kind of overwhelming. And your timing with each of them needs to be very precise. But yes, it's amazing to have Team Ninja take back our feedback so well and implement fixes right away, as if they were expecting us to tell them about Chapter 13 and so on. And after that moment of seeing the second wave of enemies come down and it being triple the amount of the last wave of enemies, and seeing that FPS tank, was the happiest I've ever been to see a game lag and stutter and the FPS dip. But they not only increased the enemy count in Chapter 13, they also increased the enemy count in Chapter 14 as well, and that's one of the stark differences between Sigma 2 and the original Ninja Gaiden 2. The fact that you're not fighting an overwhelming amount of enemies in Chapter 14 or Chapter 11 in the original, but instead you're fighting a few dogs in Sigma 2, and that was so off-putting even to me. So if I were to have a second complaint, it would be Chapter 14 as well, since it is so much different and it's kind of barren and almost like a wasteland. And I think the idea for Chapter 14 in Sigma 2 was to make it look like a wasteland. But yeah, I didn't have too many complaints about Ninja Gaiden 2 Black. I thought it was very good, but it definitely needed a difficulty bump, especially with the bosses. And I just hope they continue to improve this game and show that live services or any kind of live feedback is not a bad thing. In fact, it may get you exactly what you want, which for a lot of gamers' cases, it did. But if there's any other footage left of the combat by the time I'm done talking, I'll just show you guys how I struggled through Chapter 13's big finale. And thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a good one. Later.
It's beautiful, man! It's beautiful!